It was a close call today near a naval base in Virginia as two pipe bombs were found that could have devastated the area. The big question now, were they the work of terrorists protesting the Gulf War?
The Wane Township Trustee's Office says it's once again hurting for money, and that's something that could have a big effect on low-income individuals and families in Fort Wayne. I'm Jeff Newmeyer. I'll have a live report coming up on what the township plans to do about it.
And you'll find out about a Huntington couple going to be spending some time in jail for neglecting their infant daughter.
And what do you think? Should Pete Rose be allowed into the Hall of Fame? The official decision came down today, but we want your answer in our 900 poll coming up later.
All this and more just ahead on First at 5.
1 out of 3 Indiana babies is a WIC baby. Free food and nutrition education for Indiana women, infants, and children. Maybe yours could be one of them.
I guess you'd have to say we're blue-collar lawyers, fighting for the little guy.
When people call us, they're angry, worried. What chance do they have against a big insurance company?
We're not just dealing with clients here. We're dealing with people, victims.
So when I step into that courtroom and win, well, it's more than just a victory for our client. It's really a victory for justice.
If you've been hurt in an accident, call the law firm that's been through it before. Call 1-800-INJURED.
This commercial should persuade you to buy a new Chevy car or truck this February. Why? Well, number one, it's tax time. And number two, there are more cars on more lots than at any other time in perhaps the past decade. These Chevys truly are on sale. Now, I don't expect you to be completely persuaded until you at least come into your Northeast Indiana Chevy dealer and ask for the best deal. Believe me, these are the best prices in years.
At Wane TV, we're making a difference you can see with Lee Kelso, Karen Hensel, and Sandy Thompson. Now, here's your first full look at the latest news, live on First at 5.
In Wane Township, officials are just minutes away from considering what to do about a budget shortfall that could affect thousands of people in need of aid for food, shelter, and utilities. Good afternoon. I'm Karen Hensel.
And I'm Lee Kelso. Almost every year, Wane Township, the trustee's office, struggles to come up with enough money to pay poor relief claims to the low-income individuals and families it serves. And this year, there is concern the office may wind up very, very much short of cash.
The Wane Township Advisory Board will be discussing the potential crisis at its meeting tonight. And our Jeff Newmeyer is standing by where that meeting is going to be held in just a few moments. Jeff?
Well, Karen and Lee, I'm standing actually just in the hallway outside the meeting room. In about 15 minutes, advisory board members and members of the trustee staff will be gathering just on the other side of this wall to begin discussing whether to approve and sign an appeal to the Allen County Commissioners requesting that they borrow $2.8 million to supplement the township's 1991 budget. Now, the newly elected trustee, Tom Essex, says that the payment of poor relief claims carried over from 1990 will actually be eating into his budget for this year to the tune of about $500,000. Essex claims that he'll be left with just over $1 million, and that he expects poor relief claims will total somewhere around $4 million for 1991. Thus, the need for an emergency request to borrow more money, and that's quite a sizable chunk of money, $2.8 million. Essex puts part of the blame for this situation on the economy. He says the recession is forcing, of course, more people out of work every day. It's increasing the need for poor relief. Now, during Essex's campaign for this job, the trustee's job that carried through most of 1990, he was elected in early November in 1990, Essex vowed that he would establish and enforce more consistent poor relief eligibility requirements for Wane Township's office. And he says that that would be for the purpose of making sure that the aid gets into the hands of the people who really need it. Eligibility standards, something else that's going to be discussed here tonight, and stricter guidelines could in fact be enacted. Coming up at 6, we'll have more on what is actually discussed at this meeting. Karen.
Thanks, Jeff, for that live report from the Wane Township Trustee's office. The latest development in the Persian Gulf may have come right here in the United States. Police discovered 2 pipe bombs today attached to a huge methanol storage tank just a few miles from the sprawling Norfolk Naval Base in Norfolk, Virginia, the largest Navy base in the world. The bomb experts say the devices were attached to valves on the massive tank, and if they had exploded, it would likely have ignited another 1 million-gallon tank nearby. Police defused one bomb. The other was apparently a dud. The FBI says it's too soon to tell whether terrorists planted the bombs, which could have had a devastating impact. Well, 1 square mile area around the plant and thousands of homes were evacuated while the bomb experts worked to remove those explosives.
The president of Iran says his country is working to stop the destruction and let diplomats end the Gulf War. In Tehran today, Hashemi Rafsanjani announced he has sent a message to Saddam Hussein asking for a personal meeting, that in an effort to begin negotiations between Baghdad and Washington. Rafsanjani says for the sake of peace and security in the Gulf region, he is ready to act as peacemaker. Now, the White House is downplaying the offer, and Defense Secretary Dick Cheney says the time for diplomacy has passed, and now only Iraq's withdrawal from Kuwait will end the Gulf War. Other news making headlines from the Gulf today, General Norman Schwarzkopf says the Iraqis are now using schools as command centers. He says the move was made based on the theory that the Allied air attack won't target civilian facilities. The general says this will inhibit the airstrikes, but he's not concerned about it. More than 90 Iraqi vehicles are now in the hands of the Allied troops, all captured during the Khafji fighting. A Saudi Arabian officer says the Allied coalition can repair many of them and use them against the Iraqis. The Pentagon says the body of one of 3 missing airmen has been recovered. 2 others now still missing. Their B-52 bomber crashed in the Indian Ocean over the weekend. 3 of the 6 were rescued. And Japan's prime minister is trying to get his parliament to approve another $9 billion for the war effort. In hopes of winning approval, the prime minister is promising that the money would be used for food, transportation, medical supplies, and other non-lethal purposes. Japan has already pledged $4 billion.
Of course, the war is taking a toll on the country of Iraq. Today, Iraqi officials took CNN's Peter Arnett to a children's hospital in Baghdad. Arnett reports the situation at some Iraqi hospitals is critical. Doctors there blame the economic embargo for a lack of medicine, and they say the Allied bombing is disrupting medical equipment. Arnett says electrical generators can only be run about 2 hours a day because of gasoline shortages. The lack of refrigeration puts blood supplies in constant demand. And one doctor says the shortages of medical supplies has put Iraqi medicine back 50 years.
They need a special care, premature. And now this unit has been closed. And the children which were there all died because incubators were off, and most of the mothers taken their children away, and they came back dead. And we have sometimes to re-sterilize syringes which should be used only once. So the possibility of contaminations are very high now.
It is important to remember that everything which comes out of Baghdad is cleared by Iraqi censors and can therefore, at least in some way, be considered to be propaganda from the Iraqi government.
We want to give you a quick reminder that News 15 does have Middle East maps available, and all you have to do is ask, and a lot of you already have asked. All you have to do is send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Wane TV, P.O. Box 1515, Fort Wayne, Indiana. The zip is 46801. Now, the maps show the countries in the area, key cities, and plus it is a mini dictionary of war terms you've heard so often. Now, once again, these Middle East maps are free and yours for the asking.
We have had dozens of people dropping by the station here today to pick up those maps. You don't really need to do that. Just send that self-addressed stamped envelope and we'll get it to you as quick as we can. Coming up later on First at 5, if you've ever had a puppy, well, you know how curious they are and the trouble that can get them in. This little guy's mouth got him caught in quite a hot spot, but thanks to a call to 911, he ought to live a long and happy life, and we'll have that story for you in a few minutes.
But first, the big question for Sandy Thompson is whether this gorgeous weather is going to stick around for a while. Right, Sandy?
Well, we certainly have been pretty lucky here this weekend. It was 84 degrees today in Palm Springs, California. We didn't do too badly at 51. We've got some good weather headed our way yet for the first part of the week. Stick with us, and we'll give you that forecast.
H&R Block is prepared to take care of anyone's taxes.
We have to know the changes. We have to know the forms. That's our business.
America's tax team is ready for you right now.
We're prepared for all kinds of tax situations, from the simplest to the most complex.
No matter how complex your tax return is, H&R Block can handle your return.
It's satisfaction guaranteed.
No wonder more people choose H&R Block to get their tax returns done right.
We're America's tax team. Put us to work for you.
As a car buyer, at tax time, you have to look past the rebates, beyond the special finance rates, sales, and liquidations. Because as automobile dealerships come and go, as new car makes and models glut the market, one Fort Wayne car dealer has been around longer than most. You see, Collins Oldsmobile GMC has made a solid commitment to three things: price, product, and service. So for real tax savings, we sincerely believe it's impossible for Collins Olds GMC to be undersold.
As Ivy Tech's vice president, would you tell us how students and employers benefit from your college?
Absolutely. Ivy Tech is a leader in workforce development and school-to-work transition. We only offer programs that reflect the employment needs of the community. As the third largest college in Indiana, we're able to continually update our programs. So Ivy Tech graduates have the education they need to be valuable employees.
So Ivy Tech meets both student and community needs?
Of course, that's why we're here.
Ivy Tech. It just might surprise you.
I'm here at Ermshire Suppliers with a man who spent the last 34 years selling Pella windows, Max Ermshire. Max, why Pella for all these years? Quality sells. And when Pella makes them, they're built right, they fit tight, and they're priced right, right?
That about sums it all up.
And Max is a man of very few words.
Pella quality speaks for itself.
And I guess we've said about all we can say, except bye. Say bye, Max.
Bye, Pella.
Sandy, that was the most beautiful weekend I
Yes.
can remember in a long,
Yes.
long time.
Long
So many people were
time.
out in their yards and on their bikes.
Yes, washing cars. I wish I would have had some stock in a car wash yesterday.
Oh, it would've been
Everybody
great.
was doing that. Yeah, it was a little tempting to maybe even seed the lawn, get started on those things, but winter's not over. Of course, it's only February. We do have a couple of more days yet of some really fine weather in the Hoosier State. And speaking of fine weather in Saudi Arabia today, they've got some clear skies over there as well. A little bit of cloudiness just north of Riyadh and on through the Mediterranean area, but it's pretty clear tonight in Kuwait and on through much of Iraq, and a few clouds filtering over into Iran tonight. So I guess they're doing just like we are. They're having their weather conditions fluctuate. Well, around the Hoosier State tonight, it is going to be a very nice evening. We won't see a lot of stars because some clouds have begun to move into the area, but all those will do really is just kind of provide a nice little blanket holding in those afternoon heated temperatures so that we will have a very mild night in the mid-30s throughout the Hoosier State, possibly even the 40s for southern Indiana, and you can't argue with that here. As we expand our view, we see that there are some scattered showers, though, developing off to our west. They are random and they are scattered. There's a chance we might get some. But the heavier storms tonight continue to be in the Gulf states. They have been the ones that have been getting hit pretty hard here these past few weeks. Heavy storms continue on through eastern Texas into Louisiana and Arkansas. And it's wet and windy in the nation's northwest, where yet another system is beginning to develop. But the one that's moving through here isn't going to provide much of a problem. You can see some just spotty showers right now, and those just to our north perhaps might filter on in our direction. There's one little heavier area right here in northern Illinois. But if we do get any, it's not going to harm our temperatures, and tomorrow we're going to continue to climb again. In fact, look at this forecast for tomorrow's weather. Once again, tomorrow, much of Indiana will be in the 50s, the northern part of the state in the 40s, and actually 50-degree weather extends all the way into the eastern Rockies and the northern Great Plains states. What a deal. Much of the United States having a wonderful day. The eastern half of the United States, especially today, had dozens of record highs set. Well, we didn't set a record high today, but we came close enough with our 51 degrees so far. Tonight down to 36, maybe a sprinkle in the area. Tomorrow we're looking at about 46 degrees. A little cooler than today, but I'll settle for 46 any day, and clouds still will be with us. Sunshine returns on Wednesday, and I think we're going to hold on to this warm weather for, well, tomorrow and Wednesday yet.
Oh, that'd be great. Thanks, Sandy.
Thanks, Sandy.
Well, in the nation's capital today, it sure looks as though the White House is a bestseller on its hands. At least that's what you think from all the people lining up to get a copy.
You'll find out what's attracting all this interest right after this.
Henry Mancini, February 8th and 9th in the beautiful Embassy Theater with the second performance added by popular demand. Great seats available for Friday night's performance. Some seats available for Saturday night's performance. 25% family discount for parent and child. The Magic of Mancini, presented by the Fort Wayne Philharmonic. Sponsored by Physicians Health Plan. Media sponsor Wane TV. Henry Mancini, February 8th and 9th. Call the Embassy box office 424-5665. 424-5665.
Hey!
Hey, slow down. Don't buy that RV. You haven't been to Tom Raper's RV show. It's the biggest in the Midwest. Everybody knows the best deals on motorhomes, towables, mobile homes, sectional homes are during Tom Raper's RV show on Tom's 60-acre complex. The biggest dealer is offering the best show discounts. Now, aren't you glad you came to Tom Raper's RV show?
You love the deal that you made where the roses don't fade.
Richmond, Indiana.
Save today, Tom Raper's way.
Closed Sunday.
Show ends February 9th.
Honoring 15 students who make a difference. Wayne High School's Amy Ham is an outstanding student, talented musician, and involved in the community. Besides being a National Merit semifinalist and a member of the National Honor Society, she helped with cleanup efforts in South Carolina after Hurricane Hugo. She is secretary-treasurer of her class and Key Club vice president. Physicians Health Plan and Wayne TV recognize Amy Ham as one of 15 students who make a difference.
One of the hottest items to get your hands on in Washington today is President Bush's new budget proposal for 1992. Just take a look at all these people. They are standing in line at department agencies waiting to get a look to see how the budget is going to affect them. At one point, the $4 trillion budget package calls for more money to fight the war on drugs, to explore space, and to educate our kids. But constrained by the war and recession, it also cuts billions of dollars from the Pentagon and Medicare. There is one proposal, though, that is winning approval from the governors, and that's a shift to billions of dollars worth of federal programs over to the states.
The war in the Gulf is a deeply emotional issue for many Americans, and that makes them perfect prey for con artists. Today, the government is warning consumers. As Sarah Schulte reports, it's a warning on how not to be ripped off when you're trying to help.
Atlanta, Georgia. Profits from this jar were allegedly going to a high school student instead of the troops. And in East Hartford, Connecticut, Linda Rose thought she was paying $11.45 for this Operation Desert Storm bracelet, when in fact she was charged $100.
I feel that there's somebody somewhere that's trying to belittle the whole thing. I mean, it's like someone's pulling the rug out beneath our feet, no matter what we do to try to help.
The Federal Trade Commission says war creates a ripe environment for consumer scams. It says a little common sense will prevent you from getting ripped off.
Don't feel pressured. There's no legitimate charity that isn't going to give you a chance to find out more information. Either they'll send it to you or give you a chance to call.
So far, the FTC is only investigating 2 cases, but Cutler does expect more. And while he can't get into specifics on the cases, he did say gift package scams are the most common and date back to World War II.
Phones are also a weapon of choice. Again, the FTC says use your head. Never give your credit card or calling card numbers over the phone.
If you think you're getting taken or want to find out more about a charity, the FTC is providing some hotline numbers to call. But before taking it to the federal level, the FTC says call your local or state consumer affairs or attorney general's office.
We're certainly not trying to scare people. There are many legitimate charities, especially at a time like this, but because there are a lot of legitimate efforts, people also have to be on the lookout for the few bad apples that will come along and spoil it for everyone.
But if you really want to help the troops and want to make sure your money is going to the right place, the FTC suggests call your nearest military base. From Washington, this is Sarah Schulte.
A Huntington couple who neglected their infant daughter to the point that she almost died will now spend time behind bars, and that story tops our hometown headlines. According to the Huntington prosecutor's office, Philip and Janet Adams have been sentenced to 60 days in jail. They'll spend at least 30 days behind bars with good behavior. In November, their 2-month-old daughter, Nicole, was taken from their home by welfare officials, severely dehydrated and malnourished. She had only been fed with oatmeal instead of baby formula. Just before sentencing, the judge in the case said for the life of him he could not understand why the child wasn't fed. Nicole, now 5 months old, is in foster care and doing well. The Adams' other 2 children, aged 5 and 8, are living with relatives. Also from Huntington, we have results for you from TB tests done at 2 Huntington schools. At least 16 students and staff have tested positive for exposure to tuberculosis at Lincoln Elementary and Central Elementary schools. Public health officials are cautioning that no one is considered contagious and the infected do not feel ill. Also, that there's no cause for alarm because the cases were caught early. And we want to mention that just because you test positive for exposure to TB does not mean you have it.
Hey, Pete Rose is back in the headlines today. Is he going to make it into the Hall of Fame, or is this Rose wilted?
You'll find out next, and how you can vote on the decision coming up. Stay with us.
Lose all the weight you can for $10 a week.
The more crop residue you leave to conserve soil, the tougher it is to control grasses in your fields. But there's one grass herbicide that can take the pressure of these tough conditions. Encapsulated Microtech. Microtech is encapsulated to get through crop residue, and it's time released for season-long control. Encapsulated Microtech. It helps you conserve soil without sacrificing grass control.
Life through the eyes of a young woman who knows how precious it really is.
I feel very lucky because I'm experiencing things that are here on this earth.
Kimberly Bergalis, a tragic victim of AIDS and an inspiring symbol of hope, takes the trip of a lifetime.
Watch out!
A current affairs special, The Fantastic Voyage.
Today at 5:30 on Wane TV.
He was kicked out of baseball because of gambling, and today former Cincinnati Reds manager Pete Rose was banned from the Hall of Fame.
But Rose is being banned by today's vote, kind of indirectly. Randy Shipman is back in our newsroom to explain more about today's vote. Randy?
Well, Lee and Karen, here's the deal. The Board of Directors of Baseball's Hall of Fame has voted unanimously, it was a 12-zip vote, that any player who is on baseball's ineligible list can't be on the ballot for the Hall of Fame. Well, there's one person who's alive who's on baseball's ineligible list, Pete Rose. So they say, no, we're not taking this action against Pete Rose, but it's really obvious that's exactly who they are taking this against. A lot of people are wondering, does Pete belong in the Hall of Fame? Does he not? Well, we went out and talked to some people around town, and here's what you had to say.
When he was hitting those bases on balls and sliding into home plate, that was all done before he ever got in trouble. So how can you erase all of that? What he's contributed to baseball.
Whatever he did had nothing to do with what he's accomplished. Should be allowed to get in. He can.
I guess I feel like he should have the option to get in. He was a good player, and going on that merit, he should be in.
I think your heart would probably be wanting to let him off, but you know, if the rules say he's not supposed to be there, he's not supposed to be there.
I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. Look at the money he's brought into that stadium. Why not? Look at Jesse James. He's in the Hall of Fame. The rest of them, too. Why not?
I think he should be eligible for it because he did accomplish it. And what he does, you know, in his private, personal life shouldn't have any effect in his professional life.
I'd have to toss a coin.
That Fort Wayne is full of Cincinnati Reds fans. What do you think? Should he be allowed in?
Well, I've said this before on the air when he was getting into the trouble, and I'll say it again. I don't think there's any question that Pete Rose belongs in the Hall of Fame. See, everything that he did wrong, or allegedly did wrong, was after his playing days. It was when he was a manager. And Pete Rose is going to be judged whether or not he's a Hall of Fame member on what he did on the field. And on the field, no question, baseball's all-time hit leader. He should be in. Now, I want to make one thing clear. Rose will reportedly be eligible for the Hall of Fame once he gets reinstated in baseball. Now, he is eligible for reinstatement right now, but he has not asked the commissioner, Fay Vincent, to be reinstated yet. He will probably wait until his probation is up after serving time for tax fraud.
Okay, Randy, thanks for your help this afternoon in covering
Randy.
that story for us. Now, we want to know what you think. Should Pete Rose make it into the Hall of Fame? That is our News 15 900 poll tonight.
Now, here's how it works. If you think Pete Rose should be allowed in, dial 1-900-386-1010. If you think Rose should be banned from the Hall of Fame, dial 1-900-386-2020. Each call will cost you 50 cents. By the way, News 15 does not profit from the call. We will have preliminary results tonight on News 15 at 6 and final results tonight on Nightcast.
We'll be right back in just a moment with a story of a call to 911 that saved a life. Stay tuned.
The difference between the best overhead door company and all the others is a ribbon. This ribbon. It means we install and service more doors and openers than anyone else. It means 40 service trucks running day and night. It means this company invented overhead doors. A lot of companies use our name. Only one has the ribbon. The original overhead door. When you need service, look for the ribbon in the yellow pages.
MC Hammer, rap star and Pepsi drinker. Well, today, we secretly replaced his Pepsi with Coke. Let's see what happens.
Feelings, nothing more than feelings.
Hammer!
Problem.
Everybody loves to squeeze. Squeeze!
Sherman says, don't hold back.
Every family needs squeezing.
Don't resist.
If it's soft, who needs a reason? Everyone should have some squeezing fun.
And with squeezable softness, Sherman's the one. Don't hold back.
Everybody agrees. Take that softness and give it a squeeze.
Don't hold back. Everybody loves a little squeeze.
Just like I know you do, then my soft breadsticks will be a dream come true. So crispy outside, so soft right through. You'll love my breadsticks as much as I love you. Nothing says loving like my soft breadsticks.
Earlier, we mentioned Jeff Newmeyer is going to be live from the Wayne Township Board office where they're going to be facing a financial problem tonight at 6.
And Ellen and Joe are here to tell us what else you're going to be seeing tonight at 6. Thanks, Lee and Karen. The mayor of Fort Wayne has come up with a way to beautify a section of the near downtown area along Main Street. That story's coming up.
Rick Hawks lost the election for the 4th District congressional seat. That story's coming up, too.
And Rhonda Pickett reports on what may happen to the Association for Retarded Children if the governor's budget goes through as he would like.
There's a lot more news coming up on News 15 at 6 o'clock. We hope to see you then.
Thanks, Joe Allen. Well, you can ask about any 911 dispatcher anywhere around the country, and they're going to tell you they get some pretty weird calls along with those life and death emergencies.
Well, a rather unusual life and death call did come into one California dispatcher, but as Dorothy Lucy explains, it had nothing to do with the saving of a human life.
Booty gets her name from her little white paws, but it's her mouth that gets her into trouble. She likes to chew on pens, microphone cords, reporters, but chewing on a chicken bone almost killed her.
My daughter started crying, and she said, call 911, call 911.
My puppy's choking. Your puppy? My puppy is falling on the mop. I gave it a bone, a chicken bone.
You feel helpless. I felt like crying.
She said, it's choking, it's got a bone stuck in its throat.
Okay, what you need to do is get a hold of the dog. Okay. I tried doing like a Heimlich on it. That's exactly what you got to do.
The whole time she kept asking me if the dog was going to die.
And I said, is it going to die? Is it going to die? And he goes, ma'am, I can't answer that. I go, but is it going to die?
No, Booty's fine. A friend finally pulled out the bone, and soon after, Booty's back chewing pens.
There we go.
That is a cute dog. Now, the deputy who gave the instructions for the Heimlich maneuver over the phone is now called Bones by his coworkers.
Yeah, I see why. Thank you for joining us today. We'll leave you today with thumbs up from some of the first 5 viewers. We found outside the downtown post office they're adjusting to that 29-cent stamp. The price hike went into effect yesterday. People out there buying those new stamps today, and we're told they ran out of the 4-cent versions.
We'll see you tomorrow.
With a nation outraged at Saddam Hussein's treatment of American POWs, Geraldo takes a look at what it's like to be held hostage tomorrow morning at 9. Now there's something different on A Current Affair next.
America at war in the Middle East. As world events make a difference in your life, see the difference experience makes. Turn to News 15, only on Wane TV.
It's helped me to get back on track. I've been hurting for a while, and I've been out there, and I was afraid to come in.
Just a whole new way of life, and a way to stay clean and sober in the process. It's the only way to go.
It's the inner side of ourselves that cause us to drink, and they deal with these issues.
It's a good place.
Caring that doesn't stop. Washington House.
Sometimes it's not easy.
Is that you, dear?
To get the hairstyle you're after. But the stylists at LS Airs give you exactly the look you want by listening ever so carefully. And then they make it happen with a deluxe salon perm. Regularly from $60 to $90, now only $35, including cut, shampoo, and style. Call the LS Airs Beauty Salon for your $35 salon perm appointment.
It's the boatingest boat show ever. The Fort Wayne Boat Show, starting Friday at the Memorial Coliseum. It's for 10 big days, 2 excitement-filled weekends, featuring 2 gigantic floors packed with boats, motors, and accessories. The area's leading dealers and marinas, hundreds of America's most popular 1991 makes and models, and the chance to win a Chevy S10 pickup, boat, motor, and trailer. Buy at the year's best prices with special financing and no payments till spring. It's the boat show of the year, starting Friday at the Coliseum.
Receive 1 hour of cellular. Call Star TV 15 when news happens.
From a distance, the world looks blue. Life through the eyes of a young woman who knows how precious it really is.
I feel very lucky because I'm experiencing things that are here on this earth.
From a distance, there is harmony. Kimberly Burgalis, a tragic victim of AIDS and an inspiring symbol of hope and courage in the face of death.
I like to think that, you know, God is watching out for me. I know he's there.
Now, for the first time, Kimberly shares her deepest fears and most secret dreams as she takes us with her on the trip of a lifetime. It's the voice of hope. It's the voice of peace. A Current Affairs special, The Fantastic Voyage. It's the love of a rose. This is the song of every man. Hello, everyone. Welcome to A Current Affair. Tonight, we have one of the most moving and inspiring stories you have ever seen. It's about a beautiful young woman who is facing a horrible death with courage and faith. Her name is Kimberly Burgalis. Kimberly may only have a short time to do a lot of living, and so A Current Affair went on a journey with her, a fantastic voyage, which gives us all a lesson in life. We'll be back with that in a moment. From a distance.